We're back out on the Bass Buggy, and today we're talking about why pro anglers are so much better at fishing than you are, and how to fix that in 3 simple steps. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And you fish a lake your entire life. You've been there 25, 30 years. You go out every weekend and have ever since you were a kid, ever since your granddad or your dad taught you how to fish. You know every single nook and cranny of that lake. You know every laydown, every brush pile, every piece of flooded timber, every dock. You know everything about that lake. You've got it memorized like the back of your hand. Saturday morning rolls around, you get out of bed bright and early, you head up to the lake, and you see that there's 50 other guys already at the boat ramp. Not a problem. You know where the juice is when they don't. You get in your boat, you motor out to where you want to go, and you fish. And you fish all day. And you get 6, 7 good bites, and you're happy with that. You've caught some fish. You didn't get skunked. The methods that you tried worked. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. You know this lake better than anybody else does. Well, then a tournament rolls into town. Let's say we're talking about a big renowned lake like Ross Barnett, which is close to me. Every year, there's lots of tournaments on this lake, from MLF, BASS, and others. And this weekend, you've got a tournament rolling into town. And you see these pro anglers coming out with their wrapped boats, getting out on the water, and they've got their 3 days of practice. And the next thing you know, the tournament rolls around. And in one day, these guys are catching 25, 35, and more fish. And big fish, too. 2.5, 3 pounders. And usually, what you're getting is 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds, and you're happy with that. And then you've got some guy in there, he's got the lunker of the tournament so far, and he's caught a 7 pounder. How is this possible? You fish this lake every single day of your life. How is it that some guy who's been here maybe once or twice in his entire life, maybe never at all, he comes in here, just rolls into town, and he blows the doors off the place? And you know what? Out of 150 boats, he's 80th. So how is that possible? How are these guys doing that? Well, it comes down to 3 simple, easy steps. It's really not that hard. The first step is breaking down the fishery, breaking down that body of water. And this is number 1 for a reason, because this is the most important aspect. A pro angler has very limited time. They've only got 3 days, not 30 years, to break down this body of water. And their living depends on it. If they don't know how to do this and do it properly, they're not going to get paid. So they turn to modern tools like Google Earth and Navionics. They use Google Earth to examine it. They use past history to see the lake on drawdown and look for things like brush piles or timber or things that you can't see when the lake is at full pool. They use Navionics to get an idea of the lay of the land, as it were, to see depth and to see creek channels and humps and saddles and places of interest. And these guys are putting waypoints all over the place. So that way, when they actually do get out to the water, they transfer these waypoints to their electronics and they motor around. They already have a very good idea of where they want to go and what they're looking for. Half the battle's already been won. Now, once they actually lay physical eyes on it, and they can tell right away whether it's the juice or not. They may make a couple of casts here and there. They may not even catch a fish before they decide to pull up the trolley and head on. They know whether it's going to be good or not, because they've done this so many times. They don't need to pick an area to pieces, because actually that's bad news for them. They don't want to catch the fish that are there. They want to leave those fish there, hopefully for the entire tournament. Plus, if you see somebody fishing with a wrapped boat, chances are that's going to attract a lot of attention, and other guys are going to be, well, they're going to be snooping around in that area. So that totally blows that water to pieces. So that's step 1, being able to break down a fishery. That is key. That's what pro anglers excel at, being able to go anywhere across the country and pick a lake to pieces. Whether they've been there or not, they have the tools, they have the knowledge. They already know the places that they want to fish. They already have a good idea of the places that they want to hit. They're going to eliminate that dead water, because they need to be on fish, and they need to be on fish fast. That's the first thing that they do. Now, second of all, and this may seem like a strange thing, but it's actually highly, highly important, if not extremely underrated, and that is casting ability. Casting ability and accuracy. You have got to be able to put that bait exactly where you need it, time and time again. You need to use a fluid motion. Cast, bring it in, cast, bring it in. You've got to be able to make as many presentations as you possibly can in a short amount of time. The more presentations you can make, the more casts you can make, the more opportunities you create for yourself to generate a strike. And of course, that just leads to more fish in the boat. Or, if you've already got fish in the boat, the potential to catch that kicker or that lunker. Many guys underestimate this aspect of fishing, but I can't stress to you the importance of it enough. If you cannot skip a bait under brush, if you have trouble skipping a bait under a dock or up under flooded brush or the like, I suggest you practice this. It is key. This is something that the pros know how to do. Being able to skip a bait is one of their secret weapons. They can get those baits back where other guys can't, and they're able to pick off those fish that other guys are missing. So being able to make accurate casts and put your bait in places other guys aren't gives you just that more of an opportunity to catch fish, especially the big ones, because the fish aren't coming to you. You have to go to them. It's extremely important to be able to do this. That's why it's number 2. Number 3, well, this is probably the one that a lot of guys expected to be number 1. And that's why they're bass pros and you're not. And that is bait selection. Yep, bait selection is number 3, not number 1, not number 2. And the reason for that is very simple. You can throw the wrong bait in the right area and still get bit. But if you throw the right bait in the wrong area, you're not catching anything. So first of all, find the fish. Second of all, learn how to present what bait you do choose in an accurate manner. So being able to pick out the proper bait, the proper presentation, and the proper color, while it is important, a lot of times, even when bass are super finicky, they're not going to bite just one thing, especially if you have the skill to present multiple baits in various ways. You can attract more attention. You can throw something like, say, a jerk bait, and then if they miss that on a short strike, you can pick up another rod and throw, say, a Texas rig or something else as a follow-up bait. You know exactly in your mind, you can see basically underwater what's going on and how those fish are reacting. So being able to choose the proper bait is key, and this is based on the time of year, water clarity, and forage species. You don't want to throw something, obviously, that's so off the wall that it's just going to either scare the fish or they're not going to relate to it in any manner. So in a lot of ways, you do want to stay accurate to what's going on. That's why a lot of times you'll see the pros rigging on baits that match closely to what's already in the area. For example, if they're fishing a tournament at Lake Champlain, you're going to see a lot of alewife impersonation going on. You'll see a lot of drop shots being thrown, as a lot of times those pros are going to be going after the smallies, and then they'll probably end up going after a largemouth as a kicker. Fill up on the smallies, go for the largemouth as a kicker. That's usually the game plan of someplace like Champlain. However, it's not always the case. So you've got to be able to adapt. You've got to know what the forage species are doing in that lake at any particular time. And that takes a little bit of practice and it takes a little bit of research. However, it's not an impossible task. Although, for the most part, it's usually pretty easy just to get by with 2 colors, natural colors and dark colors. And then pick your baits from there based on the forage species. If you got shad, you want shad imitators. If you've got crawfish and bluegill, you want to imitate those. It's really not that hard. And again, it's third because you can get away with throwing several different types of presentations around fish that are active, or even fish that are inactive if you're throwing it properly, and you can still get them to bite. So there you have it, 3 simple tips to put you on the path to fishing like a pro angler. Why they're catching 25 and 30 fish on your home lake and you're happy to get 4 and 5 bites all day. Learn how to break a fishery down and find those high percentage areas. Learn casting accuracy. Learn how to skip a jig, a wacky rig, or a fluke, or anything similar. It's very, very important to be able to put your bait where other guys can't. And learn how to choose your baits properly. Know the forage species that are in the area, know the clarity of the lake, know the time of year. Those types of things are great for being able to help bait selection. And if anything else fails, just ask somebody else and see what they're throwing. Sometimes they might even tell you the truth. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.